All right, let's go. So, welcome to another episode of eCom Reality, where we talk all things e-commerce, Shopify primarily, Meta ads, Google ads, Klaviyo, email marketing, SMS, whatever is necessary, right? So, in this one, let's talk about exactly what's happening right now, which is 4th of July, which is coming up this Friday, and today is Wednesday, so 2 days from now. And guess what? Most e-com brands, some of them for 30 plus days actually, have run a 4th of July sale, because ideally you have the 4th of July sale before the actual day hits. Because think of it like this: if you want to celebrate, let's say, Independence Day, and have US items in your house or around you, on you, wherever you want, then of course you'll actually need to buy it before, because it will take some time until it actually arrives, right? So logically here. And the main reason why I'm talking about this is because let me recenter this, with many of the brands that I work with right now, some of them are running an offer, huge offers, right? Actually, and some aren't, just because they don't need to. So if you have the luxury of having good performance because you're doing well in terms of ads, in terms of conversion rate, if everything is going well, then of course you don't even need a sale, right? But for many brands, especially the ones that have a higher price point, these type of sales are pretty huge, because this is exactly what I'm seeing right now. A lot of people adding to cart, but not buying. And I think it's exactly because Amazon has conditioned people to wait for this sale, to hold off on spending money, because they'll have a sale coming up in a few days here, right? So I was just talking with the Amazon team for a brand, and they were saying how they saw a slowdown once Amazon actually announced the dates, because now basically everyone knows, let's say, when the sale is, and that they can get a better offer, you know. And if they can get a better offer, what would be the reason to buy now? Well, not much, right? So that's why right now the main focus is definitely just like making sure you don't lose money, right? Because to some extent, right now I would say that from what I've seen on many accounts, it's actually pretty tough to actually convert people, you know, because they are not in that mindset. You know, it's just like on Black Friday. When Black Friday hits, everyone will buy, because they know that day is exactly when they will buy. But until then, like, super hard. So this is more or less the same, because we have 4th of July, we have Prime Day, and they are back to back. So 2 events, and of course, if you're not running anything right now, it's not as if you won't have success, but it will be tougher, because you're competing against better offers, right? And it's always to some extent about the offer. Think of it like this: if you sell a $100 bill and you sell it for $50, right? So someone pays you $50 and you give that person $100 back, right? You're losing money. And this is how e-com is in some cases. Basically, you have to pay to acquire a customer, but the question is how much you're making or losing. Because, for example, with some brands, we're actually losing money to acquire a customer because we know they'll come back. And that's the strategy there, which is fine, which is totally fine, because over time you still make money. That's why lifetime value is a huge thing. That's why I just make sure that with all of the clients, with all of the brands that I'm working with, basically the conversations are exactly for what they need. Some of them actually do need, let's say, a bigger focus on customer acquisition, on new customer acquisition for that case. Because, as an example, with one brand, we're doing better on new customer acquisition compared to last year, but we don't have more returning customers. So overall, the revenue is down. So with all of that being said, let's talk about the actual offers, right? Because for many brands, 4th of July is, let's say, the warm-up period, where you try maybe a new offer, or you try to push for some kind of US angle or an offer. But for many, Prime Day is actually the bigger one. And I would say one of the reasons is because many have seen success with it in the past already, so they know that it's probably going to be a good time in terms of sales overall. And second, the main thing is that Amazon has already marketed this, right? So basically you don't have to get people excited, about the sale. And I'm saying this because although 4th of July is also a big time in the US, particularly, the thing is that for 4th of July, it's more so about USA, right? And not everyone, let's say, enjoys, a holiday like this. And it's not necessarily for buying, right? Like, that's not the main point of actually having some kind of holiday such as Independence Day, right? It's not a consumerism event. So you wouldn't expect it to perform as well as Prime Day, where Amazon, this is what they prepare for. Amazing deals so people can spend their money, right? And the question is, will they spend the money on Amazon? Will they spend it on your site, on your brand? And that's why this strategy is super important. In terms of action steps, I mean, you should be probably having an offer if things are not going amazing, because if things are going amazing, then yeah, don't change, don't try. Sometimes you don't have to push, right? Especially at discount. For some brands, that want to keep, let's say, their brand value or have more of a premium feel to them, sometimes you might not want to do a sale, just because you could attract the wrong people. But to some extent, this applies everywhere, right? You will attract the wrong people sometimes in life, in sales, like everywhere. You will attract some of the, let's say, not best audience for you. But with all of that being said, this is definitely a great time for everyone to actually push new offers, because there are two events, right? So one of them could actually be a net new offer that you test for the first time. So it's basically an opportunity for you just to test during a holiday when people are still likely to buy, but the offer will still be important. If you try to sell, let's say, I don't know, an ebook, right? It might be tougher, honestly. It might be tougher just because there's not so much perceived value, right? But if you offer physical products for free, then that's something that you should consider. And I would say those are the main points here. Trying to make sure that you take advantage of whatever opportunity you see, right? It's all about that, I would say, in e-commerce. Just making sure that you keep things steady, right? You're not losing money, especially not losing money, because you just won't stay in business if you do that. So I would say that's one of the main goals, making sure that you don't lose money. Ideally, make as much money as possible during the low seasons as well, because honestly, June is not amazing. Like, I've been talking with a few people. I know the brands that I work with, what their performance looks like, and yeah, it's just not amazing. So you can't do much about that. And the only thing is to do better when you have the opportunity. So next week I'll also be in Barcelona. Actually, this week I'll go in Barcelona. So super busy, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that you can't launch ads, look at ads, and just make sure that you go in the right direction, right? Personally, at least for me, I feel like media buying is not that hard, especially if you are at a certain stage, right? If you have a good creative strategist, a good designer around you, if you know how to move things around in the ad account, then things tend to work out, So that's why I don't even feel like it's hard, It's just about, as you see, being consistent, just like I am with these videos. It's all about being out there, same boat with the personal brand, but also with the ads. You need to be out there. People need to see you, to see your brand. and eventually they'll buy, but it might take some time, just like in real life. It's not that different. The more someone sees you, the more they will trust you, just because they see that you're around, right? You're not coming in, cashing out, leaving, and so on. So I would say that's it for this one. Probably could have been a little bit more specific with some things, but yeah, just kept it high level. So if you enjoyed it, you can leave a like, and until next time, peace out.